Force and Laws of Motion, Part 7, Action, Reaction. Forces always exist in pairs. In case of a book lying on a table, the weight of the book always acts vertically downwards because of gravity. Hence, the book applies force equal to weight on the table. In reaction to it, the table applies equal force in the opposite direction on the book. Weight of the book is applied on the table vertically downwards, and the reaction force is applied on the book by the table vertically upwards. If the weight of the book is 5 newtons acting vertically downwards, then the reaction force of the table on the book is also 5 newtons but acting vertically upwards. In the second case, if we apply some force on the wall, then the wall also applies the same amount of force on us. In this case, a finger is applying force on the wall and the wall applies the same amount of force but in opposite direction on the finger. And the best example for this is while drilling nails into the wall, the hammer applies force on the nail. At the same time, the nail also applies force on the hammer but in the opposite direction, which means here one body is applying force on the other body and the other body in reaction to it is also applying force on the first body. So Newton's third law is stated as, for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Let us try to understand action and reaction forces on two different bodies. Here, a man is jumping onto the shore from a boat. While doing so, he is applying a force in the backward direction on the boat and he himself is moving forward. While doing so, the action is the applying force on the boat in the backward direction, and the reaction is the boat applies a force on the man in the forward direction. In the case of a balloon, the air is pushed out by the balloon, because of which the air applies force on the balloon and moves the balloon in the forward direction. Here, the balloon is applying force on the air in the backward direction and the air is applying force on the balloon in the forward direction. In the case of a swimmer pushes the water in the backward direction, which is action force, and the water exerts a force on the swimmer in the forward direction, which is the reaction force. Let us see this example to understand Newton's third law in a better way. The fire extinguisher applies force on the gases and the gases are being released at a very high velocity. And as a reaction, the gases which are coming out also applies force on the fire extinguisher. Hence, the fire extinguisher has to move in the opposite direction. And this is how a rocket works. The rocket applies huge amount of force and releases gases at a very high velocity, vertically downwards. And the gases in turn apply forces on the rocket and the rocket moves vertically upwards because of the reaction force. Hence, action-reaction forces act on two different bodies and has got various applications in our day-to-day life.